a very warm welcome to this Fantasy 11 guide here on News 9. I'm here with Sunil Narine and we'll take you through who are the best 11 that you can choose for your fantasy team. But before that, we'll also take a look at the likely 11 for the two teams. And the match coming up tonight is Mumbai Indians versus Kolkata Knight Riders. That's right, the experience of Rohit Sharma, 5 trophies in IPL for Rohit Sharma versus Shreyas Iyer, a new captain for Kolkata Knight Riders. New captain, new season, and it has been a good start for Kolkata Knight Riders, having won 2 of the 3 games that they have played. For Rohit Sharma and for Mumbai Indians, yet again a slow start in the tournament, but unlike the earlier editions, there are problems for Rohit Sharma and the team management to address when it comes to Mumbai Indians. We will discuss all of it. What are we expecting from MCA Stadium in Pune? That's where the match will be played. We'll take you through that. But let's first look at the likely playing 11 for the two teams, and then we'll come and discuss the team composition. Okay, so should we start with Mumbai Indians and begin with Rohit Sharma, the captain, of course. Then the in-form Ishan Kishan. He may have been the most expensive player in the auction, but he is now telling you why that's the kind of money that Mumbai paid for him. There's Suryakumar Yadav, who is in all probability coming back from an injury, but we know when Suryakumar Yadav gets going how good he can be for them. Then there is Tilak Verma, who impressed us all with his 61 in the last game, though it wasn't a losing cause, but a lot of potential and talent in that youngster. Kieron Pollard hasn't fired just yet, but when Kieron Pollard gets going, we know what he can do. We've seen what Andre Russell has done in the last game for Kolkata Knight Riders that they played. If Kieron Pollard does something like that, which he's done in the past, then Mumbai would be very happy with him. Okay, then there is Tim David again. He's there, but there was, of course, a lot of trust that was put into buying him. Hasn't performed yet. Still, I feel like adjusting to the conditions, but yes, he's there. Then there's Daniel Sams, Murugan Ashwin. That's where the problem is. They don't have a world-class leg spinner there. There's Timil Mills, and Jaydev Unadkat possibly will come in place of Basil Thampi for us. And then there is Jasprit Bumrah, the only silver lining in the last game when it came to their bowling. Nikhil, that's a team that has its weaknesses undoubtedly, but then it also has the experience of Rohit Sharma. It has the experience of Kieron Pollard, and when they get going, they can be unstoppable.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan actually given them a good start. Ishan Kishan has been the standard performer, a couple of 50s, high strike rate of 140 plus. I think also Tilak Verma, he's been the find for them at 61 of the 33 deliveries. So Kieron Pollard, they need that, someone to press on the accelerator at the death, especially when Hardik Pandya is not, available, is not in the team for Mumbai Indians anymore. So Pollard becomes very important, down the order for MI, and he hasn't fired. I think the batting will look after itself, Maya. I think the problem with MI, I don't know if you agree with me, is in the bowling. Bumrah, yes, he was very good against the Royals, 3 for 17, 4 overs, and he had 1 off match. But Bumrah, no one has taken more wickets than Bumrah last 3 years of the IPL. And Bumrah is one of the greatest bowlers in the world right now. So Bumrah will find his rhythm as the tournament progresses. I am worried about the support cast for Bumrah. Who is your great leg spinner? Who is replacing Rahul Chahar? Where is the left arm Trent Bolt replacement? So you have let go of 2 fantastic bowlers, Trent Bolt and Rahul Chahar, and you don't have replacements of that pedigree. I think that is hurting Mumbai Indians a lot.
I agree. I agree that Mumbai have gone in with good bowlers, but some of them haven't done well in these conditions. The like of Timil Mills, again expensive, got wickets but expensive. There is Riley Meredith in the ranks if they can get him in. There is also Jaydev Unadkat, and like we said that, he might replace Basil Thampi, but also Basil Thampi just having, just not in the first match he went for runs, but it was the second match in 1 over, Joss Butler just took him apart, and that's where you realize that even if Jasprit Bumrah builds the pressure from one end, he doesn't have anybody to support him. And also the lack of that world-class leg spinner. because the biggest problem that Mumbai have had in the 2 matches that they've played is the death overs, and they're not able to contain the teams. Delhi, they were not able to contain Lalit Yadav and Akshar Patel, and we know that Delhi ended up winning that game. And then similar thing with Rajasthan Royals as well. Firstly, for a team to score 193, and they're not being able to chase it down. Okay, now all of you can write in your comments to us, suggestions as well. Also, who is in your fantasy team? You let us know, and we can compare. We can take notes from each other, and then you can tell us who your top players are for today's game. Also, I think a lot of it just ends up being about who wins the toss in the tournament, and I think you have to keep that in mind. And for teams chasing, you have to make sure that spinners, especially from the team that is bowling second, you don't take them if dew is a huge problem. Also, teams chasing have done well, so you want to go in for their finishers, because that it is getting difficult to bowl in the second innings, though it is different in Pune. Having said that, results have been even. There are teams that have won batting first, and there are teams that have won chasing as well. That's right, Nikhil?
I mean, the first 8 matches was heavily skewed in favor of the team chasing, which we discussed in a preview yesterday. 7-1 to the team chasing. Last 4 matches, interestingly, have been won by the team batting first.
Yeah.
So yesterday, again, it was, I'm not counting yesterday's match, it was again won by the team chasing. So overall, yes, overall it's 8-5 to the team chasing, which is, I mean, it is a skew, but I think as the tournament progresses, the wear and tear, the dew will become less of a factor.
Hopefully that will be the case, and also them spraying this anti-dew agent, that seems to be helping as well, though yesterday the ball did get extremely wet towards the end, with commentators suggesting that maybe they need to change the ball every 10 overs in the second innings because it is unusable with all the dew. But okay, let's also take a look at the playing 11 for Kolkata Knight Riders. That's right, Kolkata Knight Riders got off to a good start, lost a match to Royal Challengers Bangalore, and then came back strong against PBKS. There you take a look at that. Shreyas Iyer, of course, the captain. Venkatesh Iyer needs to get going. Hopes pinned on him. And he needs to get going. Ajinkya Rahane scored in the first game, since then hasn't really got to a big score. Nitish Rana as well. Sheldon Jackson is going to come back in because Pat Cummins is going to be drafted into the squad straight away. He's finished his quarantine, and I think that's the strength of Kolkata Knight Riders right now. The bowling has been coming good. Batting, yes, Andre Russell, but the top order didn't get any runs. Bowling has performed so well, and how good has Umesh Yadav been? I mean, this has been a dream start for him.
Highest wicket taker of the tournament, 8 wickets, 5 of them with the new ball in the power play. He's been a revelation with the new ball. He's rediscovering himself as a T20 bowler. And if he bowls like this, he could be, one of the contenders for at least a spot in the squad for Australia, the World T20, on the hard and fast bouncy tracks down under Maya. Also, for me, this overall contest is between MI's batting and KKR's bowling. It's a fantastic contest. MI do have on paper a very solid, remember little AB hasn't played yet.
Yeah.
And KKR have a fantastic bowling. Now with Pat Cummins coming in, the greatest test bowler, who's also, still finding himself in the T20 in the T20 format, in the IPL, but he is undoubtedly one of the finest bowlers in the world. So MI's batting versus KKR's bowling, the mystery spinners there, Narine and Chakravarti. Narine has been brilliant in this tournament. He's not picked up wickets, but he's been very, very restrictive, conceding less than 5 and over. Yeah. Chakravarti has been restrictive. Umesh Yadav's picking wickets in the power play. Pat Cummins in that, it's going to be fascinating.
Saudi as well. I mean, this is, they are going to, this is a relentless bowling attack. This is a bowling attack that you cannot target any bowler out of this. The only bowler you had that teams were targeting was Andre Russell, to be fair. And now, in all probability, with Pat Cummins also coming in, probably he won't need to bowl all 4 overs, because he did go for a lot of runs in
I don't think he'll get a bowl,
the 2 games. And in last game, he didn't bowl. I think he was about to bowl 1 over or something, but he really didn't bowl. Also, injury. We've seen what Andre Russell can do with the bat. There is no way KKR are risking him with their bowling. They've got a very good bowling attack. But how important is it now for someone like Shreyas Iyer to fire? And also Venkatesh Iyer. This is something we've been talking since the beginning, right? If KKR needs to do well, the Iyers need to fire.
And what is interesting is that the Iyers haven't fired, still they have won 2 of the 3 matches, which means they're in a good space. Now, if the Iyers fire, they can do even better. So, therefore, KKR must build on the start they have got. I didn't expect them to win 2 of their 3 matches. I didn't. I thought they would have a bad start.
And they were close matches.
They were close matches, and I still think they don't have a great batting lineup. I still think they don't have a great batting lineup, but they have a formidable bowling unit, the best bowling unit along with Rajasthan Royals in the tournament. And therefore, I think they must build on the start. And if one of the Iyers or both of them can start contributing, KKR has the potential to go all the way.
That's right. And also, there were doubts about Varun Chakravarti. There were also doubts about Sunil Narine, and those have been laid to rest, especially about Varun Chakravarti, where you said, could he have a second season blues? Because we saw him do well in the first season, but has he been found out? No, he hasn't yet been found out because batsmen are finding it difficult to bat against him. But that is the Kolkata Knight Riders likely 11. And I also feel that, runs have to come from Nitish Rana and Sheldon Jackson as well for them to do well. And like you said, because the batting is, top heavy, with the team dependent on Shreyas Iyer and Venkatesh Iyer, not only do they have to be consistent, but at times when they do fail, you expect someone like a Nitish Rana to turn the match around for them.
Absolutely. And I also think at some point, Rahane scored well in the first match, but at some point, they can take the risk of getting someone like Sunil Narine up the order. He's opened in the past. In fact, his finest season in the IPL was when he opened with the bat. So Narine, why waste him in the lower order? You have enough batsmen there. Or you can even open with someone like a Sheldon Jackson. He's getting wasted in the lower order. If Ajinkya Rahane doesn't score at a certain strike rate and they need those starts, that can be accommodated later.
Okay, now let's talk about the Fantasy 11. Now, let me tell you guys, if you followed my fantasy team yesterday, you would have won something. I'm convinced, I'm sure of it, because I did. And that was because of, just putting in, first of all, to have Jos Buttler there. The moment you have Jos Buttler, you end up winning because he's just been so good in the tournament. But Jos Buttler was there. The only problem with my team was that Dinesh Karthik wasn't there in my squad, and thankfully wasn't there in the guy who came second in that list. So that was good. Okay, but let's take a look at the fantasy picks. Now, again, going for some of the tried and tested ones, and then there are some differential picks. So, that could give you a lot of points if they end up doing well. So let's start then. Rohit Sharma has to be there. A lot of credit points, but hey, when Rohit Sharma is playing for Mumbai, you cannot keep him out. So Rohit Sharma in that. But we have gone with Sunil Narine as the captain. Okay, let's begin with the captain. And why I tell you we've gone in with Sunil Narine is that I always feel for the captain. I know that batsmen, if they get going, top order, you'll get the points. But with a bowler like Sunil Narine, you have 4 overs. So even if he doesn't do well in one, I'm scared. What if you make somebody a captain and he gets out for a duck? And so, so at least with a bowler as a captain, you have more chances. So, we also play percentages here. Okay, let's then move on. So that is Sunil Narine, the captain of the side. Rohit Sharma is there in that fantasy 11. There is Ishan Kishan. Okay, the order is a bit, up and down, but Ishan Kishan definitely 80 odd in one game, 50 in another. He looked formidable in both the games, and that's why Ishan Kishan has to be there. Then there is Rohit Sharma, like I said, and again, I think Rohit Sharma himself would be really itching to get runs. He scored a 40 in the first game, but in the second game didn't do much. So.
I mean, he hasn't scored many runs apart from the 40, but the thing is, his intent has been good. He's carrying this on from the when he took over the captaincy of the Indian cricket team. He wants to maximize the power play, and therefore if you see his strike rate in the first few deliveries, it's more than 140, 150. Usually, Rohit Sharma used to play out a few overs, play out a few deliveries, and then accelerate. He's changed that. He wants to maximize the power play, and he's leading with example.
Okay, so there is Rohit Sharma in that side. Then we move on to the young Tilak Varma, and I had to take him only because it's wonderful to see youngsters do well. And whenever I've taken these youngsters, be it Deepak Hooda, Ayush Badoni, they haven't, I've always ended up doing well. So Tilak Varma, he's got the potential, but he's also got the temperament, and he showed that in the last game. And somehow we've talked about this even earlier, just the confidence that the younger generation has, right?
Yeah, no fear. And 61 of 33, it's your first season. I mean, some of the shot making by Tilak Varma, left-handed, stylish. I was getting reminded a bit of Yuvraj, a bit of swag. So Tilak Varma seems to be a special talent, the way he hits the balls. And some of the balls, I mean, to use Ravi Shastri here, it went to like a tracer bullet. It was like, he hit and it was at this boundary. It was insane. So Tilak Varma is some batsman.
Spot with more often than not, it hits the sweet spot. And the sound of it. Okay. Then moving on to Surya Kumar Yadav, he comes into the side. I hope he's playing today's game, but if he isn't, then maybe change him with Venkatesh Iyer. We'll get to know at toss, so you can change that around. But Surya Kumar Yadav, if he plays, he must be raring to go. One of the things we've seen with players who've been injured and when they're coming back from injury is this wanting to get into the groove quickly enough, and so Surya Kumar Yadav definitely there. Then there is Andre Russell. He's also our vice captain. Now, a lot of you might say, but Andre Russell with the ball hasn't done much. Andre Russell in one game, but can he do it again? I think that's a bet I'm willing to take on Andre Russell.
I mean, the thing is, if he can do that 70 of 31 balls once in 5 matches, I'm saying, which is 3 or 4 times in the tournament, KKR will win that match. So 4 wins are credited only to Andre Russell. And that's how you judge Andre Russell. Consistency, don't judge him by that. Judge him by what that X factor innings, once every 4 or 5 innings is enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Andre Russell, the vice captain. And then there is Kieron Pollard. The experience of Kieron Pollard, it's only a matter of time that you see an innings like what you saw probably from Andre Russell, that Kieron Pollard can play, and he's capable of doing that. That's another thing. I know age, and you said again, the number of matches in which he does it, that may reduce, but I'm expecting him to play today. So yes, Kieron Pollard on my side. Then there is Pat Cummins. He gets drafted in straight away. Just the kind of accuracy, precision, skill.
Pedigree is too much,
So Pat Cummins. Then there is Varun Chakravarti. I want to talk about Varun Chakravarti, who may not have got as many wickets, but again does the job.
Yeah, he does the job.
Safe bet.
Safe bet. Economy is under 6. Also, we must remember he also bowls in the power play. So he does the job there. He becomes a threat in the power play. He becomes a restrictive bowler in the power play. Sunil Narine likes to bowl once the fielding restrictions have been removed, being an off spinner. So Sunil Narine has a brilliant economy rate in this IPL so far. It's only 4.16.
Imagine.
He's not conceding runs at all.
And on top of that, the other thing that he particularly enjoys bowling at the MCA Stadium in Pune. He's never gone wicketless there. 6 outings, 8 wickets at an economy of 5.58. And you know what happened to Mumbai Indians lower middle order. In fact, against Rajasthan Royals, where they all were troubled by Ashwin and Chahal. So
absolutely. Therefore, I think Narine and Chakravarti together, along with Cummins, we're talking about this fantasy team right now. And we also have Bumrah next in this fantasy team. This fantasy team, I think this bowling lineup could beat the bowling lineup of any international 11.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on then from Varun Chakravarti. There is Jasprit Bumrah. Again, had an off day in the first game he played. Went for runs, just really was off the mark, which happens in the IPL. We've seen that happen with Ashwin yesterday.
Yeah, but he came back.
Just not really bowling, just doesn't have the rhythm. But then he came back strongly in the second game and was really the best bowler, the pick of the bowlers for Mumbai in that 3 for 17.
Against the Royals, 3 for 17. Yeah, fine performance even though they lost. Yeah. And then Umesh Yadav. I mean, Umesh Yadav is the highest wicket taker of this tournament. He's 8 wickets, 5 in the power play. What swing and seam, bowling with pace. He looks fit. So Umesh Yadav, he has to be. And he's also not conceding runs. Economy is less than 5. Yeah. And he's bowling in the power play. So Umesh Yadav is doing everything right.
Umesh Yadav is doing everything right. And Umesh Yadav is also somebody who has spoken about how this is important for him. He's, that's a wonderful thing. Just be so earnest in your in honing your craft. Where there's an interview that I was reading where he said, "Look, I'm not young anymore. So when I'm bowling at the speed that I'm bowling, I need to be far more accurate. I need to be able to move the ball."
Yeah.
And a lot has gone into what Umesh Yadav is doing right now, given that he actually was unpicked in the auction the first time around, and then was picked up later on.
Yeah, absolutely. He might have lost a few kilometers and miles in speed, but that accuracy and the way he's using all his experience, his test experience, he's making the new ball move in both directions, in swing, out swing. So, he's a revelation with the new ball.
Okay, then let's take a look at the playing 11, likely playing 11 for the two teams before we say goodbye. And also know that at 6:30, we will be live on TV9 Bharatvarsh and on UP Uttarakhand channel. So you can watch us there in Hindi as we're building up to this game. And then at 7 o'clock, back on News 9 Digital's socials, so on Facebook and YouTube. And you can also follow News 9 Sports that you can see right down on that screen. Please subscribe to that YouTube channel. That will get you all the latest from the world of sports, not just cricket. So if you are a sports fan, if you are a cricket fan, please do go follow that channel. Okay, then the likely playing 11 for Mumbai Indians. And like I said, only possibly one change in that Jaydev Unadkat comes in place of Basil Thampi. Basil Thampi hasn't had a good outing in both the games. And so, yes, Jaydev Unadkat has the experience. He's got the figures, and he's done well in the past in the IPL. He comes in, but otherwise, same team.
Yeah, same team. I think, again, as I've said before, batting is the stronger suit. Jaydev Unadkat will be a good addition, given that, Daniel Sams hasn't been at his best, so it gives MI and also Bumrah a good opening pair, left and right. He's missing Trent Bolt big time. Bumrah is missing his, not only batsmen hunt in pairs, bowlers also hunt in pairs. And Bumrah and Bolt were a formidable opening pair. He's missing, like Ruturaj Gaikwad is missing Faf du Plessis for CSK. Similarly, Bumrah, I think, is missing Trent Bolt. I think Unadkat could be that. Unadkat is very experienced. He's done very well in the IPL in the past. He's not at his peak, but I think that will be a good bowling pair.
Yes.
Overall, I think MI, today will, give a better performance than they've done in the previous two matches collectively.
Okay, then let's also take a look at Kolkata Knight Riders playing 11. Then we'll take you through our fantasy 11 as well. There you see Pat Cummins coming, possibly coming in place of
Sam Billings.
Sam Billings, because Sheldon Jackson then will keep wickets, so he will come in as well. And yeah, that's the team again. Top order hasn't got off to the kind of start that they would have wanted in the 3 games so far. Which we've seen teams that have done well have had their top orders do well as well. So Kolkata would actually consider themselves lucky that they won 2 games where the batting hasn't really come good. The top order hasn't come good. One was courtesy Andre Russell, and the other was again Ajinkya Rahane, who scored runs. But I think that game, that was one game was.
So I think for KKR, the bowling again, is the stronger suit and by far. But, the bowling won't always win you matches. At some point, the opposition will score 180, 190 plus, and you have to chase it down. And therefore, I think the Iyyars have to fire. We've said it, the Iyyars have to fire. Shreyas and Venkatesh, there's no other way. Ajinkya Rahane can only do so much as an opener. There are limitations to him as a T20 batsman. But Venkatesh and Shreyas, if they don't fire, the bowling won't be able to rescue time and again.
Okay, let's also take a look at the Fantasy 11 then. Before we wrap this show up, what is our Fantasy 11? And that's the team that we're going with. Sunil Narine is the captain of the side. He's just been such an outstanding performer for Kolkata Knight Riders, and even in this IPL so far, a safe bet to go with. Given that Mumbai Indians have been struggling with spin, I would think that, even someone like a Rohit Sharma straight up, maybe Sunil Narine can bowl to him as well. But yes, that's the team. Ishan Kishan's there. There's Rohit Sharma in that team. Tilak Varma, who's been fantastic for Mumbai. There was such a noise around him, and he's showing that, that he has the talent. Then there is Suryakumar Yadav, Andre Russell, Pollard, Pat Cummins, Varun Chakravarti, Jasprit Bumrah, and Umesh Yadav. So it's got a couple of differential picks, and then there are some safe picks to go for. So that's our Fantasy 11, and with that, we've come to the end of this show. Do subscribe to our channel, as we've been saying, News 9 Sports, and do come back at 6:30 to watch the build-up, first on TV9 Bharatvarsh and UP Uttarakhand channel, and then on News 9 Digital in English. So for now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.